Are you getting your required intake of vitamins and minerals? How do you ensure that you are? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for tuning in to your #1 channel for raw, unbiased education on physical and mental health. Vitamins and minerals are micronutrients that are required by the body to carry out a range of metabolic processes. Vitamins are necessary for functions such as energy production and immune function, while minerals play an important role in growth, bone health, and a range of other important roles. Nearly all of these micronutrients are not produced by the body and therefore need to be derived from the eating regime that you are currently undertaking. There are 13 vitamins in total, 8 of which are from the B complex group. There are 7 major macro minerals and 8 essential trace elements that your body requires in varying levels, varying amounts in order to function optimally. The general advice out there from the medical establishment is to have a balanced diet, a balanced eating regime, and if you do that, you will receive your recommended dietary intakes of all of the ranges of vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. However, the world we live in can hinder your ability to receive the vitamins, the minerals, and the trace elements that your body requires. So let's have a look at some of the reasons. The following examples can significantly reduce the bioavailability of the nutrients in the foods that we consume. The first issue is that there are strong arguments out there, credible arguments, that suggest that we are no longer receiving the levels of nutrients from our regular fruits, vegetables, grains, etc. because of modern farming practices. This can be attributed to modern farming practices such as monoculture, which just uses the same plot of land over and over again to plant the same crop. The use of growth fertilizers such as NPK, which just contains nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to get the plant looking good and growing really quickly. And finally, toxic pesticides and herbicides that are going to put the plant under stress and may not allow it to reach those nutrient levels that it normally would produce. Next up is storage conditions. These can affect the final level of nutrients that are available to us in the foods that we consume. Now, there are regulators that are supposed to monitor these sorts of things, but at this point of time on planet Earth, it's very difficult to know who to trust and who's doing the right thing. But it is common knowledge now that a lot of the fruit is picked early for the convenience of the supply chain, for the convenience of the farmer or the supermarket, and it's artificially ripened in large warehouses. Some of it is put into cold storage and could be sitting there for months, and maybe people think, well, it's fine, it's being cooled, everything will be preserved, but how do we really know? And finally, we've got coatings of wax and petroleum products that give that fruit the appearance that it's fresh and that it's just recently been picked, when it couldn't be further from the truth. Following on from storage is the popular movements these days that require people to adhere to these very restricted eating regimes, where in some cases a whole macronutrient, not a micronutrient, the vitamins and minerals, but the macronutrient, which is carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, actually reducing some of those to negligible levels. For example, the proponents of a ketogenic diet will reduce their carbohydrate intake down to levels at around that 40 to 50 gram level a day. So they won't have any more carbohydrates than that. And the rest of their consumption will be made up of protein and fat. And if that works for people, great. But that's significantly reducing a large proportion of the carbohydrate macronutrient where we're consuming fruits and vegetables, grains, etc., which can be quite nutritious. In other regimes, such as the starch solution, medical mediums protocol, and If you follow Harley Johnston, aka Durian Rider, you'll see that these particular protocols also require hugely restrictive regimes that cut fat down to very negligible levels. In one of those particular protocols, it's recommended to get it down to 10 or 20 grams a day, so you're having almost no fat, which is essential for skin production, brain chemistry, and these restrictive and militant regimes can make it very difficult for an individual to receive the optimum levels of these vitamins, minerals, and trace elements. Another factor is stress. We're in 2022 at the moment. You may not be watching this video in 2022, but if you come across it, you'll know that we are going through tumultuous times that are unprecedented, and a lot of people are struggling out there and they're experiencing varying levels of stress. It might be just some minor stress, but it could be extreme levels of stress. And when an individual experiences this, the body responds to protect itself by just not focusing on digestion as much as it usually would if the body was in a calm state. So it may mean that there are nutrient deficiencies because the body is just trying to accommodate with the stress, and eating and digesting the food and assimilating the food isn't really the highest priority at that time. I know there's a common saying out there that suggests you are what you eat, but I've read several times from people that I really respect that they've changed it and they've said you are what you absorb, and that couldn't be any more true when you're undergoing a period of stress. So it doesn't matter how much you're eating, if your body is stressed, if the organs are not functioning properly, they're not going to be getting the nutrients that they really require. And the last example is heat or cooking. Now this one can be advantageous to the bioavailability of the nutrients in the food, but it can also be disadvantageous. So it can actually reduce the bioavailability of the nutrients in the food. I'll be doing further videos on vitamins and minerals and how you can get the most for your grocery budget, whatever it happens to be. So stay tuned for those episodes. If you didn't get anything out of this video today, thumbs down. If you did get something out of this video and you learned something, thumbs up, and consider sharing the video with other people that may be interested in hearing this information. In the meantime, I ask that you keep well, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.